Glover. What? Baby, this episode got y'all shook. Shook. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen, did y'all catch that episode of Atlanta? Whoo, baby. Whoo, child. Whew. I couldn't even get camera ready for y'all. I'm so tickled about this episode. I couldn't even get camera ready. Ooh, baby. Let me get down to it. So this is not going to be a long review. When I tell you I was this might be a horror film for somebody. Woo, this might be a horror film for somebody, for some folk. Listen. So if you don't know what I'm giggling and pontificating about, it is Atlanta, season 3, episode 4, entitled The Big Payback. Baby, so I'm just going to give you the overall gist. I'm not going to go scene by scene. Not really. But honey, it was basically, it started off at the beginning. There's a man in his car. I don't know if I have his names. Let me see. It's important, but it's not important for the whole gist of this whole episode. And basically what this episode was about was the fact that a family sued a member of the board of directors or something like that in the Tesla Corporation. And they sued them because they said that he got rich and had the ability to be as rich as he was is because of slavery, that he had owned slaves, and his family has been rich like that since slavery. And they sued, and they got their basic forms of reparations. And so they were able to get money from that family. It set up a precedent. So then families were going back through their lineage and figuring out which families own them. They found their which families own the people. So they found their today counterparts. I can't figure out what I will say. And baby, people just started suing families, honey. And I guess it had morphed into a whole thing where now they have people who have owned slaves. Their families have to pay a reparation tax. And in that reparations tax, that money goes to the living members of the people who were descendants of slaves. Woo! Woo! When I tell you, and we follow this man, he's very nonchalant about it. He's going through his issues. He's in the middle of a divorce with his wife. He's got a good little thing going on in regards to divorcing his wife. And so he's really lackadaisical about it. He doesn't think anything about it until he is served. And let me go back. He doesn't really think much about it until he goes to work. And then he sees there was somebody crying and all this other stuff. And they had this big old meeting saying that they were about to lay people off. Well, a lot of the white people in that office was shook because now that they realized that a lot of the layoffs were happening because of the fact that people in the higher ups who owned the company, they could trace back their family was owning slaves. And so they were having to pay this money out. And so you had the white people in the office shook. The black people in the office, honey, was laughing and high-fiving and figuring out who they was finna sue. But the white people were upset about being sued. And there was this one lady, she was shook. And then she found out that she was 68% Jewish. So she was like, oh, I'm not going to worry about it. So the main character in this particular episode, he was like, well, my ancestors were slaves during the Byzantine Empire. Sir, you really want to go back 2,500 years? Well, we are talking about last century. Come on now. But anyhow, that's how that episode went. You had a whole lot of people, going through it. You had a man that committed suicide behind it. You had the main character, his wife was like, we need to hurry up and get a divorce because I can't have my finances tied with your bull stuff. So it ended up that this man had to get a job. At the end, he had got another job where he's working tables. And that salary that he's getting from working to tables, 10 to 15% of his salary has to go to reparation taxes. A mess. A whole mess. So like I said, that is just, it gets you thinking. That is something to think about with how they could actually do reparations and how they could do that, and how you have a lot of folk out here mad. You have too many folks out here mad about that. But it was such an interesting concept. It was such a heavy episode, but it was also funny. It was, and I don't want to say whimsical or funny, but it was just like, from my perspective, it was just like, isn't that interesting? Y'all don't want to give up any money, but you love to talk about how you own, how your family was rich and owning slaves. You don't want to give up any money from that. Because I never, ever understood why they did not make the South pay with monetary payments to the people that were enslaved. That could have been something done way back when, and it could have been over with. You had a whole Reconstruction age and stuff like that, and that was definitely before y'all let the South loose. You definitely could have had them to pay that money. But I understand that there was a whole lot of whole lot of going on. It was just a whole big mess. But tell me what y'all think of it. Like I said, this wasn't going to be a long review. The subject matter was interesting. It was deep. You had folks shook. Well, you know who I'm talking about. You had the white folks shook about that. And I think in one of those instances, I don't see where it could be implausible. This could be a plausible answer for a lot of that. And it has to be for the people that you can trace that were with United States American chattel slavery. Not people who have immigrated in and then they think they finna hit a lick. No, you should be able to trace your lineage back to the day before slavery ended. My opinion. All right, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about this episode. Sorry, it's not going to be in depth, but like I said, the synopsis and the basis of it, it was what it was. And so I'm hoping that once we get to 100 followers, I can do these shows live and then pull y'all into the live, and we can definitely have a conversation about that. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comments. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your family, even tell them folks you can't stand, honey, that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, bye-bye.